just gone 16 minutes past 7. You're listening to RTHK's Hong Kong Today. The Town Planning Board here will meet this morning to discuss development plans for 3 ecologically sensitive sites, Hoi Ha, Pak Lap and Solo Pun. The government has proposed small house development for the 3 country park enclaves, allowing the populations of Pak Lap and Solo Pun to grow to 50 and 1,000 people respectively. Green groups and others are opposed to the plans, fearing they are the first step towards allowing wide-scale development in Hong Kong's country parks. Well, for more on this, we're now joined by the convener of Designing Hong Kong, Paul Zimmerman. Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
I understand just 4 of the representation support the draft for Hoi Ha, the draft development plans for Hoi Ha, and just 1 support the Pak Lap draft, and that's out of thousands, isn't it? So is it unlikely that these will go through?
The objections to these OZPs come from 2 sides. One side are the villagers who want more development rights, and the green groups and hikers and general public who are objecting to it, the greater majority who want fewer development rights. So there's always the risk that government has the claim of balanced development by sticking to the plans that they have published.
The plans for Solo Pun and Pak Lap, which are far away from any roads, for around 50 people to live in Pak Lap and 1,000 in Solo Pun. I don't understand where these people are going to come from or how they're going to get to and from their houses.
Well, in case of Pak Lap and Solo Pun, you technically could go there either hiking or take a boat. They're both waterfront sites. Yeah, no, it's very scary. For Pak Lap, we have now recently seen a request to the Country Marine Park Board for a road through the country park, the Cycle Country Park, to Pak Lap, and that has been approved to go ahead. Although they have limited the width to a 1.2 meter road, which would allow a village vehicle, but everywhere we go, we see that those 1.2 meter roads are usually abused by ASVENs and other trucks by having 1 wheel on the path and 1 wheel on whatever else is the ground next to it. And the reason for that was basically social equity. I mean, if there's an old lady living there with a bad back or mobility disabilities, then they have to have the right to get to their home. So the point is, the moment you allow houses to be developed in these faraway places, the request for permission to build roads will ultimately be granted, because it would not be right to deny people access if you first allow them to live there.
Why is the development of these 3 enclaves being considered by the Town Planning Board instead of the country's park, under the country's park ordinance?
Those are 2 separate ordinances, so and that's indeed the question. If you want to include them, like we did for Dalong Saiwan, under the country park ordinance, it's a matter of the authority, the Country Marine Parks Authority, which is the director of AFCD, and they have refused to control the development in these areas and put them under their ordinance, which is it's a real shame, because they have, if you would have them under the country park ordinance, any development in these areas will have to go through the Country Marine Park Board, and they can then evaluate whether a house that is being applied for, the way it's going to be constructed, where it is going to be constructed, that does minimum damage to the environment. By giving up that right of control and leaving it to the Town Planning Ordinance, we are now appealing to the board, the Town Planning Board, for the next month, because the hearings go on for about a whole month, to make sure that they maintain control, that they do not create large V zones in which village houses can be built off-right. Villages can still apply for a village house under a greenbelt zone or a conservation area or an agricultural zoning, but then it has to go back to the Town Planning Board to approve, and then they can ask for all kind of conditions to make sure that the damage and the impacts will be minimal.
So
but if they commit large V zones, we have a big problem, because then you can build off-right. It's only the Lands Department that looks at approving them, and we've seen the impacts all around the new territories, the chaos in the villages, the lack of sewage control, drainage control, platform height, sides. I mean, it's an unsightly mess, but it's environmentally damaging for the environment.
So is that the main decision that the town planning board will now be making, whether to consider these three enclaves as village-type development zones or not?
That's right. The objection from the green groups is that the V zones are too big. The villages are saying they're too small, and the case we'll be making to the town planning board is please maintain control, because these village areas, they're very different from other village areas in the new territories. These are village areas within country parks, right next to marine parks, and we want you to keep control. Unfortunately, the director of AFCD has refused to do it for various reasons. We believe it's financially more than anything else, that he doesn't have the manpower to go and control these areas. But please, town planning board, keep your control. Don't let these village houses be built off-right.
And I presume the villagers are pushing for them to become V zones.
Oh, absolutely, because that's money for them. I mean, and a lot of these there have been transactions on most of these areas. They either are sold already to developers, which will make it a little bit difficult for the villagers, but they want to complete the commitments they have to these developers to provide the ding-hook rights and help them develop these lands. In other areas, they have sold options on those lands, so we don't see the transactions in the lands department. We know that these deals have been made, and they're just waiting for the ability to get these applications through the lands department, and for that they need the V zoning.
Okay, Paul Zimmerman, thank you very much for joining us this morning.